What's up guys, welcome back to another YouTube video, and in today's video I'll be reviewing the Lenovo Legion Go. So I don't have it in person in hand, but I'll just be going over some of the tech facts for those of you who may be just interested and want to learn something about it before you buy. So I won't be able to show you. I could put up visual examples on screen, but I don't have it in person to actually show you. But I do have the Steam Deck to compare it to. I do have the Steam Deck in hand to show you comparison a little bit. No, it's not the same as actually having the Lenovo Legion Go, but since I'm pretty small channel, everything I have or review, if I want it in hand, I have to either buy it myself or have a friend who bought it and then review it from them. So yeah, so the PS5, I've had to buy that myself to review. Steam Deck, I bought it myself. Apple Watch, everything I have to buy myself to review. So I don't actually have a $700 right now to go spending on another gaming console since I already bought two. So yeah, I'll be reviewing just the techs and the features and everything about it. So without further ado, let's get into today's video. Alright, so first, let's get into pricing. So if you were trying to buy the Lenovo Legion Go, when you go on the website, you'll probably notice that if you search up Lenovo Legion Go on the Lenovo website, you probably see one up high on the highest, on the first row, that says $749.99, and then as you scroll down a little bit, you'll see just Lenovo Legion computers, and then you'll see another Lenovo Legion Go. It'll say $699.99. So the $700 model, $750 model. So I was a little bit confused because I knew that the Lenovo Legion Go was brand new, and I knew that they didn't have two models out yet. So I did a little digging and comparisons. I compared on the website, hit compare, and then I looked, and I was looking through the comparison of it, to see why it was two different prices. And then I realized that one was 1 terabyte and one was 512 gigabytes. So obviously the 512 gigabyte one was the $700 console, and then the 1 terabyte one was the $750 console, which I think is a steal. For only $50 extra, you can get an extra almost 500 gigabytes, a little less than that, and you'll have 1 terabyte of storage just for an extra $50, which is a pretty good steal, considering that you do have an SD slot at the top where you can add another terabyte with a micro SD card, or maybe even 2 terabytes with a micro SD card. Even though that might cost a little bit of money, that is an option for later down the road, maybe if you want more games. And we'll get into why you won't want that storage later on. But for now, that's just, if you're trying to buy it off the website and you see the two different prices, $750 or $749.99 is the 1 terabyte version, and then $699.99 or $700 would be the 512 gigabyte version. So just for those of you who maybe wanted to buy it from the actual website. Now those of you guys who are buying it from eBay seller or something like that, you don't have to worry about that. You just have to make sure you check the seller's description to see which one they're selling, the 512 or the 1 terabyte. But if you're buying it from another seller, most likely at the moment it'll be more expensive. Some people might be selling for cheaper, just where you're gonna get it from or where you're looking. Might be getting it from eBay, might be getting it from Mercari or anything like that. So that's just pricing from the actual Lenovo website. So yeah, that's it for pricing. So second thing I want to discuss is the actual screen. As you know, as you have a gaming console, handheld especially, you want to know about the screen. So first off, the screen, they're calling it a pure sight gaming display. It's an 8.8 diagonal screen. So for reference, this is the original Steam Deck. I'm pretty sure it's only 7 inches. It's considering from here to here. It's not straight across, it's from there to there. So this would be 7 inches. I'll edit it if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure it's 7 inches though. But the Lenovo Legion Go would be 8.8 from here to here. So it's, for those of you who thought the Steam Deck was big, compare, like, when most people bought the Steam Deck, a lot of people were switching from Nintendo to Steam Deck. We're not switching, rather, but went from gaming, from the small little Nintendo, which most people thought were regular size. And then the Steam Deck came out, people were like, oh, this is big. Now the Lenovo Legion comes out, and this, like, is way, I mean, it's not, like, way bigger, but it's definitely bigger than the Steam Deck. So if you're switching from a Nintendo, skipping the Steam Deck, maybe, or the ROG Ally, and going straight to Lenovo Legion Go, or the LLG, just to keep it short, LLG, that's what I call it from now on. It's definitely going to be a big change. They did do a lot to make sure that even though it's big, it's still comfortable to play. I'll get into more of that later. But they did make it so that it'll still be comfortable, despite how big it is. Second thing about the screen is that it's made out of Gorilla Glass, so it shouldn't scratch or crack too easily. I've been playing with my Steam Deck. Had it for, I believe I bought it in like August. It's December now. About 3-4 months, and it still has no scratches, and that's not even Gorilla Glass. So with the Lenovo or LLG with the Gorilla Glass, it should be really good. You shouldn't have to worry about cracking or scratching, as long as you're not being too rough with it, which I wouldn't see why you'll be rough with a $750 handheld console. Just saying. But for the extra protection, to give you a bang for your buck, they did add Gorilla Glass. So you wouldn't have to worry about that. Another thing that the screen has is a 10-point touch system. Now, 10-point touchscreen, it just means that the screen can handle 10 points of contact. Basically, all your fingers, you can use all your fingers at once while touching the screen. So if you're touching here, it'll process the 2 touch points here, and you're zooming into something. But then if you're zooming on something here and you're zooming on something here, it can process all 4 of your touch points. It's not like where you may be like trying to zoom into something using your 2 fingers and you zoom in, or you're trying to like add a 3rd finger or something, and it doesn't let you do that. 10-point touchscreen means that you can use 10 different points of contact. So basically, all your fingers. You can use all your fingers, different contact points. I'm not sure why you would use all 10 of your fingers to touch the screen at once, but like I said, probably you could zoom in using 2 fingers here, and then at the other side of the screen you can use 2 fingers. It could process all 4 of them, up to 10 points of contact. I'm not gonna lie, I did not know what that was before recording this video. I had to do some research on it because I didn't know, but it is a good thing to have. And since it does have that 8.8 QHD screen, you can definitely use your 10-point contact, especially since the screen's so big. Another thing about the screen is that it goes up to 500 nits of brightness. So it does get pretty up there in brightness, so you won't have to worry about not being able to see, whether it be in a really bright area or a really dark area. It can go up to 500 nits. And if I'm not wrong, I believe the newer Apple Watches just was able to get to the 500 nits of brightness this year. The Apple Watch Ultra 2 and the Apple Watch Series 9, they just like released it to have 500 nits of brightness. So now I'm guessing that's an industry standard, because now the Lenovo or LLG came out 500 nits of brightness. So if I guess one company could do it, then another company could do it. So now everything will be able to have that brightness. So you won't have to worry about if you're in an exposed area to like really bright sunlight. It can get up there in brightness, so you won't have to worry about that. Next thing, controllers. Now, with the Lenovo Legion Go, controllers are a big thing. And I know a lot of people, that's why a lot of people are calling it a Nintendo Switch on steroids, because although they're not called Joy-Cons, they're called True Strike controllers. True Strike, and they're detachable just like a Nintendo Switch. But instead of having a button to detach like a Nintendo Switch, you have like these like switches on the back. You like pull the switches and the controllers come off. And the pretty big controllers, not as skinny, nowhere near as skinny as the Joy-Cons. And on top of that, Joy-Cons were flat in your hand, like it was like flat. These, they ergonomically designed it to be a lot more comfortable. Now, if you're looking at the screen, not the screen, the controllers attached to the screen, you might recognize that, unlike, as you can see, of a Steam Deck, it has curved corners, round edges like this. You see, round edges. But if you look at the Lenovo Legion Go, you realize that it has sharp edges, and they did that because each side of those edges is at a 12-degree slant, ensuring that when you're gaming, you have places to rest your pointer fingers. That way, it'd be more comfortable for you to play. And they made their buttons precisely spread out, claiming that the way that they're spaced out their buttons, that is be more comfortable for 95% of their gamers. And so yeah, it says, and I'm quoting it exactly from their website. They said that 95% of their users should be able to play comfortably for long periods of time because of that slant and how spaced out their buttons are. And I would assume that 5% of players that wouldn't be comfortable for would be people with smaller hands, mainly because how big the LLG is, especially with how slanted the controllers are, and just how big they are. Especially if you're used to playing with the Switch, people with small hands might not be able to play with the LLG comfortably. But yeah, 95%. That's a pretty bold statement. So we'll see how people react to how it is. I think it's pretty good. It's differently designed. How they went for is different. But they did it all like scientifically, mathematically, took into account how users play, all to make it more comfortable for their users. So we'll see as more people get their hands on it and how they feel about gaming on it. And not just gaming on it, but gaming on it for extended periods of time. As you know, that's important for especially hardcore gamers. If you're gonna be gaming with that LLG, you're gonna want to be able to play for a while comfortably, not with your hands getting cramped. And they also claim that they made it with cylindrical design. That way it can fit comfortably in your palm. And then they have it where one of the controllers, when you detach it, it becomes like a mouse. And it's like in a handshake posture. That way, like when you reach out for a handshake like this, obviously your wrist is not straining. So when they have it on turn that controller into a mouse, they have it on that thing and it's in the handshake position. And they claim that because it's in that position, it eases some of that wrist pain. That way you, like I said, playing for extended periods of time, you won't get that, like your wrist hurting or having to go like this or cracking your wrist and all that because of how long you've been playing and you make your wrist hurt and stuff like that. But with the LLG, that should not be a problem because, like I said, they took a more scientific, mathematical approach to this with their design. That's why it's slanted on the edges. That's why their controllers from the side are like cylinders, because they took into account how people play and how big most people's hands are, I guess, how they space the buttons and everything. So they really did take into account the controllers. Now I don't believe like how Joy-Cons are, where they have that, you have that Joy-Con and then you have a black strap to protect your buttons. Now these True Strike controllers, I don't believe they have that to protect it. I guess they didn't want to copy Nintendo all the way. I can see why they want it, because they might get sued for doing all that. But I think it might be good for like a third-party company to maybe make some for that. That way it's attached to your wrist, and that way you're not just like holding it. Because I like having Joy-Cons where I can let go and not like drop it, but still connect it to my wrist so I can just pick it back up and play. But it does have a pretty big kickstand. It definitely needs a big kickstand because so you can play it in tabletop mode. And I actually really like that because, as you can see, the Steam Deck does not have a kickstand. So if you wanted to play on tabletop mode, you either have to buy something to put it in, or you have to just lean it up against something in order to play it like that. And then on top of that, controllers aren't detachable, so you would have to get like a keyboard and mouse or controller to connect it through Bluetooth to play tabletop mode, and then again you have to lean it against something. But for the LLG, that's not a problem. I think that's really smart of them to do that, because now more people and more different types of gamers, like now, because this is a PC handheld, so now your PC players can do it and will like it. People who are used to Nintendo will like it because it got that kickstand, it got detachable controllers. So they really targeted a big crowd of people to get it. PC gamers, people who use the Nintendo, just a lot of people will be able to adjust to it easily just because of how it is and how it's made. And now since we're talking about Nintendo, you might be wondering exactly what type of games can you be playing on the LLG. So we have Windows 11 for all your PC gamers who want to play from Windows 11 like they would be playing on their PC. Then it has your Xbox Pass, which I believe is 3 months free, and then after that you have to pay for it. And then you have your Legion space for all your Legion, your Lenovo games. And I believe you should be able to download Steam from the Steam browser. So you should be able. I haven't tested it, but from my knowledge, you should be able to play your Steam library games on the LLG. So now you have a big selection of games. You have Xbox, Windows 11, Legion space, and I'm pretty sure you could use your Steam library as well. And I'm not sure about PlayStation Plus or any of that, but I do know that they do have Xbox. You can play your Xbox games with your Xbox Pass. And this LLG, it solves some problems like a lot of people had with the Steam Deck. One, it has the fan. It's called a cold front thermal tech, and that fan makes sure that first off that it runs cool. So you want to get that heat blowing off like you did from the original Steam Deck. You want to get all that heat after playing for so long. And another thing that people hated about the fan on the Steam Deck was how loud it would get alongside that heat. But the LLG has a quiet mode, which makes sure that in quiet mode is no louder than 25 decibels, which is pretty quiet, especially when you're gaming. You don't want to hear all that background noise from a fan. And then it has like a thin thermal thing on the back, so you won't have to worry about it overheating or that loud noise from the fan. They took care of that. I know a lot of people hated that about the original Steam Deck, and I know Steam Deck did take steps to fix that with their OLED version, and even release some updates for the LCD version, but Lenovo Legion did it right out the gate. They saw a problem that other consoles had, and they came already prepared, so people don't have it with theirs, which is, like I said, smart. They're thinking smart. They're doing their research when doing it, so it should be hypothetically a really, really, really good console, and I think it is. Like I said, I haven't had opportunity to test it, but from what I've seen what people saying about it and what I did my research on, it is a really, really good handheld. Obviously its competitors would be Steam Deck and ROG Ally. So I know a lot of people have been doing companies been making more and more PC handhelds lately, and a lot of people, one thing they liked about the Steam Deck, like I said, the Lenovo company, they did their research before. People liked having these trackpads, so they have, the LLG has one trackpad, and then Steam Deck have buttons on the back. The LLG has buttons on the back, buttons on the side. It even has a mouse scroller here. Then it has a FPS switch on the bottom, so you can switch your frames per second and use it as a mouse when you attach the controllers. And on the top of the LLG, you have a USB-C charger, and then on the bottom you have a USB-C charger. And with those chargers, you get 70% in 30 minutes. So you can game really long, and that's possible due to their rapid charging. So yeah, and I think it's really cool that they put one on the top and on the bottom. That way, if you're like gaming, laying back, you have it on the top so it's not in your way. Or maybe if you're leaning forward and you have it like this, you can have like around you downwards, and so you can have options where to do it. It has a headphone jack, and then it has the volume buttons and the power button on top with the fan and speakers, and then it has two microphones on the bottom, and like I said, then it has a mouse scroll on the back, along with some more buttons on the back, and then a button on the side. Then of course you have your two triggers here and then two triggers here, which L1, L2, R1, R2. little strippers and all that good stuff. So yeah, and then it has your, of course, your D-pad and your joysticks and all that good stuff, and then your setting buttons and all that. So it does have a lot of buttons. And so yeah, I believe that is everything so far that we know about the LLG. Now comment down below if you have an LLG, what you think about it and your thoughts. Tell me what you think is bad about it, what you think is good about it, your favorite thing about it, your least favorite thing about it. Or if you have a ROG Ally or your Steam Deck, let me know your thoughts on those as well. And that's all for today's video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.